Hey, gang. April Fool's Day. A couple of seconds that I didn't start right away was your big joke for the day. I just don't have time to plan stuff like that, honestly. I Last week we did that thing where we did like just a collage of clips, audio clips, and now I'm kind of using video as well. And I'm using video as well. And let's see, let's get rid of the overlay so people can see me. There we go. I'm using the overlay I'm using the video as well, and I just got tied up with so many things today. I didn't even get a chance to edit it and put it together. It'll come back. I know that was a good, that was well liked, and it gave you an intro before I did the intro as to what we're talking about today. I think you kind of got a clue. Cory Booker, God love him. See, that would be 16 hours later. He's still on the floor of the Senate. I'm not even sure what he's filibustering. I mean, that was from yesterday, I guess. I'm looking at C-SPAN, and this might be a tape from yesterday. But no, it's saying 11:04. It's actually 11:05, but I mean, still. And they're in the Armed Services Committee is confirming a 3-star general. That's who we've got, a 3-star general to lead the Joint Chiefs. Hey, CZ. Like, I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy. But seriously, you've got a Fox News consultant as the Secretary of Defense and a 3-star general leading the Joint Chiefs. Have you fired that many people and downsized so much we don't have a 4-star general or admiral anymore? Oh, wow. It's Tuesday, April 1st. And let's go through the time here, and I'll tell you what's happening today. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I got to share a screen here as I figure out my world. There we go. It's 11:06 here on the East Coast in Tampa, 8:06 a.m. out there on the left coast, 4:06 p.m. London, 17:06 in Berlin and Gaza, 18:06 in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Kyiv, and Moscow, 11:06 p.m. in Perth, Australia, and 2:06 a.m. in Sydney and Melbourne. And in 4 days, Melbourne will move back an hour. I guess Sydney will too. Sydney's not up there, so I guess that's why I only have 10 spots. So I have to combine some. 1-888-88 Yergs. Lots to talk about today. Lots. Let me see. Impeachment. I'm trying to put the Busters and Tariffs. Oh my. Did a little. I think that's from Wizard of Oz. It's a huge gay lions and tigers and something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Wherever that's from. That's the title of today's episode. And they're just floating across the screen with the phone numbers 1-888-88 Yergs, 844 gay LGBT, on Google Voice, 813-358-3836. You can find those numbers. I don't know where else you can find those numbers, actually. All our social medias are somewhere. I'm not sure where the numbers are. Pro-Trump journalist warns fellow MAGAts that we're all focusing on the wrong stuff. She says we need to get back to it, or the Dems could take over. Not like that would be a bad thing. I mean, I wouldn't want this type of majority on the Democrat side either, ever. There's nothing balanced about what's happening right now in our government. But she says it's more than just trans. Really? Because that's all I heard about. And it's the only thing he's actually accomplished so far. Morgan Wallen walks off Saturday Night Live, then tries to minimize the incident. So, you are a dumb hick? Is that what you're saying? Trumpers talk silliness of impeaching a judge, but the GOP uses a rare amount of common sense. The Treasury info sharing DOGE staffer is back. And T-Rump is still talking a third term. Still. Hang out to closer to the end when we talk about Pierre's pot and today's recipients. First up, Cory Booker, still going on the Senate floor. We'll get to that in just a second, but don't forget to stay tuned for a little less than 2 hours from now for Sportcat's Daily Gazette, also available on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and Radio X Australia. You can get them at radiox.com.au, yergsradio.com, and rainbowradio.gay. We like to use World Time Buddy to convert time. You see what's on the screen right now. This is a sexy thing here. Not only does it convert from wherever in the world you are to wherever in the world you want to be, but it converts to the format used in that region. For example, you see us there at 11:11 a.m., but in Kyiv, Gaza, Berlin, Tel Aviv, Moscow, they all use military time. So you're seeing 17 and 18:11. 6 p.m. is the 18th hour of the day. That's where that comes from, in case you're not a military brat or current service member or veteran, or just not familiar with the 24-hour system. Not only does it convert for you to the format of choice, but you can click, like if we've got an 11 a.m. show, Eastern, click on that, and now it creates links for you to use in your Google Calendar, clipboard. You can put it into your Gmail, or with that clipboard, you can post it into another email service, iCal, wherever. And for each one of these time zones, it'll put a link. It'll put that calculated time that equates to 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 1st. Pretty awesome thing. So, Cory, there he is on C-SPAN.
About Darfur and made sure we knew the signs of genocide when we saw it. How can we let this happen again, we asked her. I wore my Save Darfur green rubber bracelet and t-shirt everywhere I went. What could I, a kid living at the Jersey Shore, do to help? During this period of enlightenment led by Miss Logan,
so this is clearly
the Mary
exciting.
Knoll Missionaries funded school.
I think we're going to be wrapping this bit up, or not bit, but segment a little faster than anticipated. Actually, we got 2 minutes left, so that's not too bad. I included this in with the intro, which I need to shorten. I know. But I guess it also helps me make it through the entire 2 hours, which we're doing now every Tuesday, every day, Monday through Friday. It's now a 2-hour show. And speaking of, we're working on yet another. I've proposed. I have not heard back yet because of the time difference and how wanky it gets, trying to email each other. But as you know, starting yesterday, we went from having Up the Middle, also on Radio X in Australia, and followed by, we're taking up their overnight schedule. So we're giving them some actual content without having to find somebody that's up all night. We're up all night for them, and they are for us. So we're starting at 11 Perth time right now for 2 hours, followed by 2 hours of another Mastiff Media collaboration from Sportcat and Nightlight Studios, Sportcat's Daily Gazette, something that he put together not only just for Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio, but for this partnership with Radio X. And I realized they still had some open time throughout the night. And there was a show we needed to bring back badly. Yerg's Radio News is now Mastiff Media Magazine. And I rebranded after Mastiff Media. There we go. I got to take a break now. I'm actually finally watching the clocks I'm supposed to watch. I'll finish this thought and we'll go to a commercial. Because it's not just on Yerg's Radio, it's also on Rainbow Radio and now Radio X. I rebranded it to the company that's actually making it, and that is Mastiff Media. So Mastiff Media Magazine is yet another new show that is a great way to start your morning in Australia. That will be in roughly 4 hours from now, a little less than. And then in 5 hours from now, on Radio X, it'll be Mates Helping Mates with Scott, who I've been calling Brian for the whole show yesterday. Shout out to Scott Browning. I guess that's where the BR comes from, Browning, maybe his last name. I don't know. I was a little dizzy with the excitement of our partnership. But what I'm proposing is that after Mastiff Media Magazine, which is an hour, we do the first hour of Mates Helping Mates on Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio. Why? It's a rock show. Why would you play it on a talk station? Well, first of all, they're playing talk on a rock station. Maybe it's overnight and they can be a little bit more flexible with programming, but they're still being flexible with programming. But also, if we look into that, because we're playing their show, not our show, but we still can't play music, they don't play that much music during the first hour. And I listened to their show yesterday. I'm really impressed. I'm really happy that they're taking, because if you don't know the background of that show, especially those here in the U.S. probably don't, Scott and his mate, I forget who it was that is his co-host, but they lost a friend from suicide. As most of you know, there are 10 people in my life that I've lost from suicide. But also just the inspirational conversation that they have in that first hour is a perfect fit for Yerg's Radio. So for the rare music that they play in the first hour, what I'm suggesting is they cut the feed to us, which will automatically pick up our playlist, which can be various replays of the news stories Sportcat and I do throughout that afternoon. Easy enough. And then when they come back, they can turn back on the broadcast for, they can turn back on the broadcast for Mastiff Media, not just Yerg's Radio, but Rainbow Radio. So that proposal's on their desk. And, I'm happy to help. I want to help get more exposure for their programming, wherever that may be. Got to take a break. Ken says, good morning, Superfan Ken. That's it. A voice that sounds like yours. I think that's the actual, a voice that sounds like yours. I might have used something else more like that too. A voice like yours. I think I used a shorter version at one point throughout the whole. Lots of copying and pasting. When we come back, we'll check in on Cory. And what's next? Yes, a pro-Trump, quote-unquote, journalist warns the MAGA movement of how bad they're not, or how, I don't know. She's just got some warning for the MAGA movement. I couldn't really understand it either. You're listening or watching Up the Middle on Radio X out of Perth, Australia. WZQR Talks out of Pineland, Florida. Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, and KSHP is now with us on Tuesdays. 107.1 FM and 1400 AM KSHP, Las Vegas. No longer just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're working on that Thursday. And also today, we're back to trying things out on Biz Growth Collective. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll be back after this.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness.
Biz Growth Collective. Look at this. This is where we're broadcasting right now. One of the platforms we're broadcasting to. That is a meeting room, a virtual meeting room. Biz Growth Collective. Now, I've been telling you about this. This is the successor and the much better option to LinkedIn. I'm not saying that because I got kicked off of it. I'm saying that because it's a much better option than LinkedIn. Go to, bizgrowthcollective.com. Sign up today. There's 3 membership tiers, free, 25, 50. This is right now in beta, and it's in Florida. But if you're not in Florida, you're not out of the game. If you do business in Florida, you're still welcome at Biz Growth Collective. Maybe what you need to do is advertise right here. I'm in Florida. Do business with me. You're in Florida, and you're on this amazing product, virtual product. Looks a little empty right now. That's because I'm one of the beta testers, and you see me sitting there at that long table in the middle of the screen with the Y there. That's me. That's yours. There's the camera for my view. It was actually sharing. There we go. No, it was actually sharing my screen. There we go. I think let's do this. So yeah, you share your screen, and now obviously because I'm sharing that screen, it's going to look a little psychotic. But nevertheless, really good product. Check it out. Go to bizgrowthcollective.com and sign up today. I'm going to get this off my... Oh, there we go. All right. Cory Booker still going strong. We'll check in on him again. Let's listen to our pro-Trump. Where's my cursor? That's the downside to having... Where the hell is it? Jesus. That's the downside to having 4 monitors. You're going to get lost. All right. bizgrowthcollective.com. Oh. So I'm learning how to pan that down on the dashboard for this. And it's working, but clearly I got to still need to hit pause so that when I bring it back up, so Ken is liking the music. He's laughing at the music for reasons he can't display over on air. Is that like bringing back your porn days? Reminiscent of the adult entertainment years? I'm just guessing. You get that sexy chocolate voice. You can't stop there. But I like that show music in the background. Did it sound good? Like, was it too loud, not loud enough? When I, earlier from the ones last week, when I did the playback, it was not registering that well. So I had to turn it up a little bit, or there's spots where I just had to edit it out of the video. You know who I also forgot? Today's day 2 from DNR Studios, Derek and Romaine. We started with them yesterday. Welcome to everybody checking in, hopefully, on dnrstudios.com or the DNR Cast mobile app. Volume was fine, so I'll keep it at that mark. Thanks, Ken. I got to add that on here. Ugh. DNR Studios at dnrstudios.com and DNR Cast app. All right. So this lady fancies herself a journalist, former occupant of the left on the political spectrum, now says that, of course, Trump's her guy, but here's what the MAGAts are doing wrong.
My name is Batya Ungar-Sargon. I am the author of Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy, and Second Class, How the Elites Are Betraying America's Working Men and Women. And I am an Orthodox Jew. I am a writer.
Okay, so in case you haven't figured out, I'm going to stop occasionally adding my 2 cents. So yeah, let's get back to her.
An editor, a journalist. I'm a columnist at the Free Press. I used to be on the left. Now the left rejects me, that's for sure.
So here's your problem. You used to be on the left. What changed? Do you still have progressive values? I doubt that. I've never, of all the Jews I've met, especially those that were more Orthodox.
Jury selection is set to begin today in the trial of the illegal immigrant accused of killing.
I've never met, especially somebody as an Orthodox Jew, who was ever remotely progressive.
Of Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy.
And we'll talk about the woke media a little bit later on through this too. The MAGAts and everybody over there on the right that talks down on being woke just describes anything that's woke as anything they don't agree with. That doesn't make it woke. It doesn't make it bad. If you take an objective look at yourself, you'll see what an asshat you've been. Like going from all the way on the left of the political spectrum to all the way on the right, when maybe you were never really on the left in the first place as an Orthodox Jew. Think about that. Is that why you came to the right? Because maybe your family and your community told you you are. You're going to be a good little Jewish girl. Be conservative, like all of us Orthodox Jews are. Come on. That you were ever a real member of the left, I just find hard to believe.
Second class, how the elites are betraying America's working men and women.
Okay, now that's true. They're called Republicans. And this will get, I promise you, gang, as I struggle to get through the 2 minutes and 16 seconds of this damn thing, it'll get comical. I mean, I want to go back to my umpiring days and hockey officiating days when people looked at me and said, "What are you watching?" Hello, sweetie. What are you watching? Here we go. Promise. Progress on this effort. Here it is.
And I am an Orthodox Jew. I am a writer, an editor, a journalist. I'm a columnist at the Free Press. I used to be on the left. Now the left rejects me, that's for sure. As much as I will say I'm still a leftist, I feel very identified with the MAGA movement. I think the biggest threat to the movement is misunderstanding what Donald Trump's victory in 2024 was all about. The Democrats don't really pose a threat right now. They have nothing. They're fundamental.
Okay, that I'll partially agree with. I partially agree, and that is that the Democrats don't have much right now. I won't say they have nothing. I don't know why this keeps resetting. This is pissing me off. Probably because it's Fox. They tell you what they let you see what they want you to see.
Victory in 2024 was all about. The Democrats don't really pose a threat right now. They have nothing.
They do have something,
capable of realizing,
but they're not posing a threat right now.
They think that Trump won over trans issues. Now they have nothing. They're fundamentally incapable of realizing what they did wrong. They think that Trump won over trans issues.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people on the right are making the same mistake. Of course, that was a part of it. But what Trump won on...
That was a huge part of it. That's all he talked about.
Was the idea that we don't have to live like this. You know, that working class people deserve dignity.
Here it comes.
And that dignity for a lot of working class people comes from economic autonomy.
Here's the deal, sweetie. Just because you can't manage a budget or balance a checkbook, that was not Joe Biden's fault.
But also cultural and social autonomy. And I think that if the Republicans go back to the pre-Trump version of the party, they're going to lose all of that support.
Wait, the pre-Trump version of the party? You mean the very episode that got taken down off of YouTube last week? Is exactly what you're referring to? That the pre-Trump or the actual Republican values, because we weren't talking about their issues before Trump. The only ones talking about it then were the, what the hell were they back in 2010? The schoolhouse people or whatever. Tea Party. But that was just even more conservative. Now there is this fascist movement. That's what it is. And I'm fascinated to see an Orthodox Jew supporting fascism. I'm saying it right today. Did you hear that? Yesterday, I was having a hell of a time with that hashtag at the top of the screen. Oh, I was laughing. And I think part of the fact that I kept laughing at myself was what made it worse.
Report that they built. Trump made the GOP cool,
No, he did not make the GOP cool. He made it cool for your racist, anti-Semitic, and your ignorance. He made that okay. That's what happened. GOP was never cool. I mean, look at that. What's his Ryan Fournier? That president of the college Republicans or college MAGAts or whatever the hell he is. There's nothing cool about him. He's a good looking kid. I'd do him. He's probably getting that right now. My gaydar spins with him. But there's nothing cool about him. He's the guy that gets picked on in the lunchroom.
Oh, he made it cool and edgy.
No.
And if they go back to the
nothing edgy. Nothing edgy about what's his nuts? Hold on. Morgan Wallen. There's nothing edgy about him. There's nothing edgy about Kid Rock. He looks like a goof, but it's not edgy.
The party which was catering to the rich and the country clubs economically.
This is the part right here. Oh, let's just hold on. We need a little bit of a replay there.
Of the party which was catering to the rich and the country clubs economically, believed in using American taxpayer dollars.
I'm sorry. Donnie Boy has done what every weekend since the election? Let alone since he was inaugurated? He's gone where? And he hangs around with who? You see that guy in the bottom left corner of the screen in front of what looks like a Trump bus or something like that? Oh, I know who that is. That's the guy that Trump's endorsing for Supreme Court in Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. That guy looks more edgy than the country club going knucklehead in the other corner of the screen. But again, tell us how the current MAGAt party is so in touch with the working class.
To fund wars and programs and trans operas globally, and was socially conservative and believed in taking people's choices over.
The trans operas, that it's like that's the only entertainment that is going on right now. That's it. You got to go to a drag show. And remember how we were worried about our children being indoctrinated by drag queens? I've got a list of politicians that have recently been arrested for indoctrinating children and actually getting it on with them. None of them are drag queens. In fact, none of them are even none of them are even Democrats. They're all good old boys from a country club.
Away from them at the social level, they're going to lose a lot of the support that he built. And honestly, that is the only.
That's not why he's losing the support. The reason why he's losing the support is that he said he would bring down the price of gas and eggs and other groceries on day 1. We're on day 71. Is this the April Fool's joke? April Fools. Sucks to be you.
Only thing that will ever make the Democrats competitive again, because they're not.
The Democrats will be competitive the moment they pull their head out of their ass. Their messaging during the 24 campaign was poor. They tried to reel in the rowdy Coach Waltz, and it bit them in the ass. Uncle Joe didn't stick with the insinuation that he gave the first time around, that it would be one and done. When he was forced into it, it didn't look good, especially as late as it was. And all that bit him in the ass. That does not knock them out. Pete Buttigieg, I promise you right now, is in a dark room talking with other Dems saying, what are we going to do in 2026? And what are we going to do in 2028?
Going to change their ways. They can't. They've lost the working class. They're catering to a very small elite, an ever smaller elite.
No, they have not lost the working class. They've lost the racist members of the working class. I have 4 Cuban American households within spitting distance of my house. They all supported Trump, not because they're all union workers, by the way. Union workers and small business entrepreneurs, neither of whom are people that Trump supported. But why did they put their efforts behind Trump and not Kamala Harris? Because of these. Kamala Harris has titties. And that's a no-go for these egotistical Cubans. And many, many like them.
Because even that elite is sick of
their words, by the way. They said that's why they weren't supporting her, because she's a woman.
the woke stuff. So some of them are defecting. So I think that the
woke stuff. Like listening to science over stupidity. Oh, I preyed on it, though. Yes, you've heard me tell that joke. The guy that's on a neighborhood very much like mine, and a massive flood is coming. And God's going to save him. So a small boat comes by before the floods got too bad and offered him a ride to safety. But he said no, because God is going to save me. The floodwaters increased, and along came a larger boat offering that same ride. God will save me. All right, we're out of here. And the boat takes off. Finally, the floodwaters are too much, and he's on the roof of his house. And along comes a helicopter offering his last chance because there's even more floodwaters on the way. God will save me, he yells up to the helicopter. And the helicopter pulls up the bucket and takes off. The floodwaters come. The man drowns. Still being a good church-going person and person of faith, he does make it to heaven. Crying, he comes up to the gates. Why did you forsake me, Lord? I believed in you. My faith held me strong in those scary times. But you did not save me. God was waiting for him personally to chew his ass out. Says, dude, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What more do you want? And the point of that is, when God saves us, and I'm a person of faith, the Red Sea doesn't part. Water doesn't turn into endless wine. What happens is opportunities come to you in life that because they're not godlike. You're too stupid to see. That is the MAGA movement. We had an opportunity to get rid of this guy. No. Kamala Harris was not who we wanted. Joe Biden was probably not either. But you know what we'd be able to do in 2028? Vote for somebody else. Not going to say that now, are we? I'm not saying. Oh, I'm going to burp up another cup of coffee. I am not saying that's going to happen. I don't think we have. I gotta get these down because, sorry, I'm talking to myself here. They keep changing. They keep forwarding to something else. So I got to put that in the show notes for later. Morgan Wallen just walks off Saturday Night Live at the end of it. We won't play that whole thing, but there's the one of course, Fox has their spin. I mean, duh. Oh, what will we do without Fox? But I get censored for misleading. But there's Fox. Oh, it's painful. I get a headache with these idiots. All right. This is up the middle. You're either watching or listening, maybe both. Maybe trying not to. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, Morgan Wallen is going to walk off the set from here too. Be right back.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching. Dunk tanks. Sauna. Everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness.
Give me a second here. I'm trying to check out. Trying to figure out why we are not on my website. That shouldn't be the one. Eric's Radio. None of the feeds are working. Yeah, I'll have to scold them about that. I mean, I think Twitch is up, right? Let's see what the channels are saying. There's YouTube, 3 Facebooks, that's 4, 5 Twitch, says it's streaming there. D Live, Insta, and what's its nuts? Rumble. That's just the bios. I forget which one of these when I clicked on before. Well, I mean, that's kind of important because I've been telling people, hey, we can. There we are. So you just got to click on the live broadcast. You don't have to click. Oh, cool. All right. Well, that's good. And there we are in another vortex of deep into a rabbit hole. All right. Good enough. There we are. Awesome. We're back from the commercial, and I got to turn music on. There it is. Build a space. Look at this place. That's who needs to teach me how to use my own damn website, clearly. No, seriously, that's who put that in. When I found out that I got censored last week from last Monday's show, I right away went to Build a Space, and within hours, we were broadcasting my show live to my own website. Within hours. We still have Yours Radio. I can still send everybody there if they want audio only, or some of the other shows. But every time I go live, it goes right to what you just saw. And that's because of Build a Space. They have one of those cool URLs like we do with mastiff.media. They are builda.space. Look at the top corner up there. Builda.space. Not .com, .space. So go to builda.space. Check out all these services. Look at all that. Web design, advertising. I didn't know they did advertising. I just learned that this weekend too. We're going to add Mastiff Media to their possible advertising destinations. I'm going to make some damn money finally. Then tools to grow your business, part of which was what I showed you before, where we're broadcasting today's show. Biz Growth Collective. That's theirs. This is the company who's doing that. They're doing amazing. Business management services. Check it out. Builda.space. I'm telling you, that's what you're looking for right there. All right, so before the break, we were getting ready for Morgan Wallen to walk off Saturday Night Live. This is what's... he's got a history with these knuckleheads. And I'm calling the people at Saturday Night Live the knucklehead. Why would you have this guy
musical
back?
guest Morgan Wallen raised...
We'll get back to that in a second, but here's the history that this girl from the Fox News anchor that you're going to hear is talking about. Whatever number of years ago, during COVID, he was the musical guest in like November or so of 2020. He's in New York, staying at this hotel, because they do, even the musical guest does sound checks throughout the week, as well as takes part sometimes in, comedic bits, etc. Then he's seen at a bar without a mask, in breach of contract with his agreement for that week with Saturday Night Live. So they send him home. About a month later, well, somewhere around that time, he does I'm sorry. What it sounded like a pretty decent statement, to at least realize that these people are of the opinion that masks work and that you agreed to take part in that for that reason, because it's their house. So he comes back to seemingly an uneventful. Maybe he hosted it this time. I don't know. He didn't host this past Saturday. He was the musical guest. So he comes back totally uneventful, like no issues. Even one of the comedic bits, they made some sort of joke about his anti-mask and whatever beliefs that caused him to go sideways the previous month. Now he's saying that after this walk-off that you're going to say, it wasn't a walk-off home run, it was a rude walk-off. And Kenan Thompson talked about it as well. He just walks off. I mean, the show is over, to be clear. And the host, Mikey, whatever her name, I've never heard her before either. But the host says, "Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining. It was so much fun. I'll see you next time, hopefully. Maybe I'll get in the club and whatever, that kind of thing." He gives her a hug because he's standing right aside of her. And the cast, apparently there was tension during the course of the week because usually everybody's like kind of sort of crowded around center stage. So they all get, their 5 minutes of, "Hi, Mom. This is me. I'm a cast member on SNL." Well, the cast is all kind of back. And he just walks off. So let's watch. Or listen.
Eyebrows last night by abruptly walking off stage before the end of the show. Watch the awkward moment.
Thank you so much to Morgan Wallen. I had a wonderful time. Thank you
all. And there he goes. Hugs her.
After his quick exit, he posted a cryptic Instagram story captioned, "Get me to God's country." Things have been a little weird between Wallen and SNL.
Okay, so get me to God's country. Did you see what was there? He wasn't, if he's going back to Georgia, we'll say, he wasn't at the Delta terminal. He was at a private jet, and he's talking smack about God's country. What is that, your magic carpet? Is that how you levitate and walk on water in your private jet? I don't know why this is doing this. I pause it and now this Museum of the Bible reveals some real mosaic. That's wonderful. I got to go back and we got to go through this again.
Musical guest Morgan Wallen raised eyebrows last night by abruptly walking off stage before the end of the show. Watch the awkward moment. After his quick exit, he posted a cryptic Instagram story captioned, "Get me to God's country." Things have been a little weird between Wallen and SNL since they disinvited him in 2020 over COVID policies.
And
perhaps
this is
that
why
explains why the cast seemed to avoid
fault.
Standing next to him at the end of the show. For Nicole,
why did you have this hick and torn blue jeans back on your show?
When you got to that part, did it strike you as really awkward?
Yeah, so I watched this with my kids. We like the Weekend Update. I think they do a great job there. Right. But when I saw him walk off like that, it's like, yeah, it's awkward. And you know what it took me as? I don't actually think he was trying to be rude, or I just think he doesn't watch the show.
Why would some Fox-watching country star want to be rude on Saturday Night Live?
He doesn't necessarily feel comfortable there. He had kind of a tumultuous relationship with them in the past, and he did his gig.
He doesn't feel comfortable there because he was a dick.
Clap, quick kiss. I'm out. And he wanted to get out. He wanted to beat Saturday Night Traffic.
Yeah, at least he's got,
he's in a limo with a private jet.
And so maybe that's fueling why he just walked off stage. But he also kind of just looked like a guy who was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't think he realized everyone stays.
I don't
they
know.
hang out.
It kind of like fits with his personality because he is sort of
He's an asshole.
Country music rebel. Like he's gotten in trouble for a bunch of different things. He had a throw chairing incident in Nashville, which I think he pled guilty to 2 misdemeanors for. Yeah. There were some things he said in the past that so he's kind of this like country music
why
rebel.
Would you want to have this guy on?
Peace out. I'm doing my own thing. Walking off the stage. Sort of fits with his mold. Also, I love when he got in trouble with them for the, not following all the lame COVID policies, which were all.
Oh, there we go. You know more than actual doctors. Oh, there's another has-been down on the right corner. Kid Rock trying to make himself relevant. Did I get that? Yes, I got the link. Oh God. Did you see?
Right. Bill Maher may be one of President Trump's most vocal critics.
Oh, Kid Rock, use some moisturizer and get some work done, please. All right, what do we got here? Oh, I got plugs to do. I'm late. Damn it. So yeah, let me get to that. We're going to be losing KSHP. Come over to Yerg's Radio, YERGZ radio.com or radiox.com.au to continue with the audio. Or go to yergs.com. It is working. YERGZ, yergs.com. It is working. We'll get that out that way. If we do lose you, come over and listen to the rest of the show for hour number 2. Check out, please, America One Radio. We're supposed to be there, too. And for whatever reason, we're not. I emailed the guy again yesterday. I'd like your help in doing that, please. AmericaOneRadio.com. Use the contact tab and say, where is up the middle? It's supposed to be at 11 a.m., also for an hour. 11 a.m., but it doesn't seem like that's actually working. I think it's going on 2 months now, really. Because it was late January, early February. I went through emails last night and nothing. No response, nothing. We're still on the schedule, so they haven't replaced us officially. I mean, if they're going to put another show in our spot, aren't they going to put it on the schedule too? But we love being there because we're not on the other Atlanta station, the FM station that we used to be on. They were just a poo-poo sandwich. And I think I can say that now. Yeah, they were a shit sandwich. They had to go. But we want America One Radio back, so progressive talk in Atlanta, but they are worldwide. They do have a global audience. So contact them, please. Let me know that you've done it. And let me know when you hear back, if you hear back. Also, for those of you in broadcasting, I now have my own, a bunch of us got together, put together another meetup group, this for radio, but really anything. I mean, look, we're radio and right there's a camera, so radio, TV, internet, shortwave, satellite, whatever. Go to meetup.com/internet-terrestrial-radio-group. Or just go to meetup.com and search Radio Roundtable. That, what you see, the Internet Terrestrial Radio, that used to be the name. And then I called our events Radio Roundtables. And I'm like, you know what? That's just a better name for the group. And we do kind of sort of focus on radio, but please, if you're in anything in television or any sort of video or even movies, don't be scared away. Come join us. Everybody's welcome. And not just at the mic or in front of the camera type talents. If you're a writer, an editor, producer, whatever it is you do, your thoughts, your expertise, your value is valued with us. Check us out. If you're somewhere in like a war zone, Kyiv, Moscow, some other country where listening to the show might be a risk, let us know that you're doing it so we can send you some news and talk about things in your country, let you know what's really going on. Here's our safest way that we have right now. It's an email to my hotel brand asking that you want to have a vacation. Tell us about you've seen, that is an actual address, yergs.shayyergs.com. Yergs@shayyergs.com. Tell us where you would be vacationing from so we know where you're at right now. Make sense? The Sea Ranch Civic Association, go to mysrca.com in Pasco, Florida, serving the Nature Coast in northern Tampa Bay. Really good civic association. And if you're living in the area, it's not a governing body. It's not a homeowners association like that.
It's just a civic association, social organization, and a really good one. Go to mysrca.com and sign up today. The Capitol switchboard is 202-224-3121. Give them a call. Ask to speak with your state's senators and your congressperson, your congressman or woman, and tell those people that DOGE gotta goes. DNR Studios, welcome to everybody there. We're now at dnrstudios.com. Or available on the DNR Cast mobile app. For more information and to sign up, go to dnrstudios.com. Check out the other offers that they got. Recipes. You can get on trips through DNR Travel. There's other shows, all of which are really good. Really like listening to all of them. Two particular, Gayish and what was the other? I forget it now. I had to look this up here. Give me a second because it's going to bug me. Gayish. Focus group I was kind of familiar with before. Up the middle. It's not standing out. I don't know which one it is. Gayish podcast was really cool. Focus group, I had listened to before. I got to check out Remain's. She's got her own show called The Dildo Whisperer. I'm wondering if that's kind of literal to the toys. Anyway. Jane Stahl, my Monday host. Oh, we got to call her in this next hour. Today's her birthday. You can write her a birthday message by going to Studio BBB, 3 Bs, studiobbb.org. Checking her out there. She's also the co-editor, along with Leslie Misko, of our town's digital newspaper, the Boyertown Area Expression. Go to boyertownareaexpression.town.news and check out what's happening in our hometown. Tomorrow, I'll be joined by Philip Blackett. Philip with 1 L, Blackett with 2 T's. At Philip Blackett for all his socials. Check him out. He is our Trump translator. On Friday, we'll be joined by Matt Deemer from the Democratic side. You can write him at matt@dailycryptonews.net. He's the host of the Daily Crypto News. And also at info@deemerforcongress.com. We'll see him Friday. Also coming in Friday, Blake Fisher. He's the host of The Homeless Conservative. One of our resident all-the-way right conservatives, however, not a Trump supporter. And he lets me know that I'm not an independent. I'm a progressive or libtard. So says he. Blake Fisher, Blake at thehomelessconservative.com. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. And for show notes and more information, go to yergz.com or mastiff.media. Coming up in an hour from now, well, a little less than that now, I'm rambling, available on YouTube and other locations, at Parrot or Normal Guys, will be Sportcat's Daily Gazette, also available on Yergz Radio, Rainbow Radio, and Radio X. All right. Let's see what else. Okay. I got to take a break. When we come back, where are we at? What's up next here? Yes. When we come back, we're going to check in on Cory Booker, see what's going on there. And then we'll also talk about the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution. Apparently, some of the right-wing knuckleheads can't even spell Constitution because clearly they've never read it. And that is with regards to Donald Trump and a third term. Also, when we come back, Pierre's pot, all that and more right here on Up the Middle through the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness.
I am just trying to confirm that my co-host actually does have a birthday today. Events. I thought that was in events, where your birthday notifications are. My events. No. Here's what I don't like about I used to get all these notifications that so-and-so has a birthday, blah, 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 whatever. And I would wish that person a happy birthday. I do that every day. And now I cannot. There we go. Birthdays. Oh, Jane's is tomorrow. Okay, well, we'll call Jane tomorrow and wish her happy birthday. Yesterday, a former co-worker celebrated. Oh, actually, no, that was Sunday. There's a high school friend tomorrow also. Friday, jet ski buddy on Saturday. Another Secret Service coworker is coming Sunday. There we go. All right. Who is that? Oh, there's a friend that birthday is coming up in May. Just passed away. Remembering so-and-so. I wonder, they never say like what happened, or I think it always just, if something happens to me, I want you to know about it. If I just die, I want you to know about it. So this has been a while. Here's somebody, November 2nd, 2023. Still missing you, good friend. Great best friend. Hope you behave up there. I know you. I mean, I didn't really know this guy. There's like so many other Facebook quote unquote friends. Rest in peace, guy. That's too bad. All right, let's get rid of that tab and pull back up. Where's Cory? Where are you at, Cory? There we go. He's still there. Look at you. Look at you. Still going. So maybe we should move that over that way. Still going. I'm not gonna. What's he doing? Reading from the phone book?
practices. It's stunning. USDA destabilization. Trump and Musk have laid off USDA employees, closed USDA offices, hindering the agency's ability to provide essential services to farmers. Tariff policies. Trump's tariff policies implement.
Yeah, here's what I don't like about all this DOGE stuff is that they're making all these cuts and they're flapping their yap about how awesome they are. Says who? Has anybody actually looked at these agencies and said, yeah, this is redundant. This is not needed. This is whatever. You're saving money. So what? Government is not a business. Government is in business to serve and protect the people. And if it's not there, it can't do that. I'm not saying that our government is fraud or corruption or waste-free. I'm saying when you have a guy whose biggest concern in life is not the many children that he fathered and the fact that he doesn't know any of them, but instead is the fact that the government that he's now cutting down was in the process of about a dozen different investigations into his company's illegal behaviors and practices. So instead of going to the Defense Department, an agency that has known fraud, misuse, excessive use, redundant use, waste, in the known amounts, in the amounts that exceed entire budgets for other for other cabinet level positions. Yet he didn't start there. Why, you ask? Being like all the other listeners of Up the Middle and having a critical and inquisitive mind? Well, perhaps it was because he has contracts with the Defense Department through SpaceX, through Starlink, his global satellite internet service. That's his. Through Tesla. You think it's an accident that ugly-looking SUV that can't get out of its own way looks like a stealth fighter and a tank? You think that's an accident? You think some trendy, cool, hip guy like Elon Musk is going to improve a refrigerator on wheels to be riding around with his company's brand on it unless there was a reason? We'll check back on Cory in a minute. But yeah. So there's a station in Boston that I'm trying to possibly get on. They've got like so many of our affiliates, not everybody carries us the full 2 hours. They can't. Their schedule just doesn't allow for it. I hope that they eventually all do. And I think we're creating a show that's worthy of that. But apparently from like 11 to noon during our first hour, this 50,000 watt station in Boston has space. So I was about to call yesterday when the person that I needed to talk to, there's a Rottweiler across the street. The person that I needed to talk to was on his own show. So I'm like, well, let's check in here, you know? I thought, it's Boston. Pretty progressive state of Massachusetts and New England. What could this, wow. Whew. This guy thinks that it's okay for a judge to rule against Donald Trump, which, by the way, the judge has no business doing in the first place. So says he. So it's okay for Trump to turn around and say, well, you know what? I don't like this guy. I'm going to have him impeached and get him out of my way. So after I stopped laughing, the first comment I typed into the chat was, can you even spell Constitution? Because he's talking about how this is not part of the system of checks and balances. Meanwhile, it's the exact part of the system of checks and balances. It may not be the be-all and end-all. There may be levels in the court system above this particular judge, but it is a step that even the president has to go through. Or, as it were, the entire executive branch, or a division within that executive branch. Point being, I really want to know what his real background is. Like, I sit here talking politics. I've got a degree in history and political science. What does that mean? That means since I was 18 years old, I have been, one, following politics on some level, at least a little bit somewhere. But the biggest thing that my history degree taught me was the fact that good historians don't know everything there is to know about history. We don't know all the dates. We don't know all that stuff. We don't know a lot of that stuff or any of it. What we know is how to find it. So that when I come here, I could possibly convince you that I actually know what I'm talking about. And as such, you may disagree, but you'll grow a respect for my opinion and my procedures to present to you an argument. This guy just finds all the conservatives in the Boston area within the sound of that very large station. 50,000 watts is a big deal. And that's at least what the website says it is. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but whatever. So that's a big deal. But apparently, because he's the general manager of the station, that's really all his show is. It's nowhere else, as best as I could tell. And as such, what's he really got? So I didn't want to trash him too hard. In fact, later, he actually replied to it after the show. I had said something else. He said that the president is the only position in the government that is elected by, I think he actually used the word directly also, but is elected directly by all of the American people. I said that's not true. In fact, the president is not elected by the American people. Little known fact. And I guess, what would you call it? Not a loophole. I don't know what you would call it, but fact is, when you vote for the president, you do not vote for the president. And that is by design. In fact, it is by a brilliant design. And in today's political science, it seems as though that is a conservative viewpoint. Many on the progressive liberal side of the House are favoring eliminating something called the Electoral College. That is who you actually elect, is your member to the Electoral College, and by doing so, you pick which presidential candidate you want them to represent and vote for. Now, why this extra hoop to jump through? In short, what the Electoral College does in lieu of the popular vote that Democrats are calling for, it keeps middle America relevant. And for those of you listening from middle America, this is where you say, thanks, Yergs, great point, thank you. But I'll explain further. If we use just the popular vote, back in the day, it was only like 5 U.S. cities that you'd have had to campaign through. That's it. You win those 5 of those like 6 or 8 cities, because some of them are more progressive. So as a conservative, you're probably not going to win Philadelphia. Very Democrat city. But as a progressive, you're probably not going to win Jacksonville, Florida, or Mobile, Alabama. Very conservative cities. But ultimately, you would just need a lot of the bigger cities, and that's it. Well, that's not what we're here for. When I said earlier that a government is not here to profit, but to protect and serve its people, it is tasked with the responsibility of doing that for all of its people. And this guy couldn't get that. You know, he just wants to serve Trump. He just wants to get rid of this judge who's corrupt. Corrupt only because he seems to be against what Trump is doing. Keep in mind, he was named to the federal court system by George W. He was promoted by Barack Obama and promoted again by Chief Justice. I'm brain farting, but the current Chief Justice of the United States to the court system that he's in now, the FOA, Freedom of Information Act. No. No, what is it? It's the intelligence one. Not FOIA. It's the intelligence courts. It's the secret courts that are overseeing these supposed gang members that are still entitled to due process and have been denied due process. So there you go. There's Trump in the nutshell. Just do what I want to do. Now somebody's standing up to him and he doesn't like it. And so he wants to impeach the guy. Well, finally, assorted members of the GOP are growing a set down there too. I thought I had this. There we go. And they're saying, yeah, no, can't do that, big guy. Here's Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, 91 years old, the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, pushing back on T-Rump. This according to thehill.com. Here's also a story from what looks to be like the Hill TV. I don't know. Let's see what this has to say. Guess I should put it on the screen here too. This is from thehill.com. Talking about House Republicans looking to punish judges.
Senate Democrats certainly would not vote to impeach Boasberg, but what type of actions are House Republicans looking to take against judges who rule against Trump?
Hey, Drew. Yeah, if Republicans in the House all do stick together, they could technically get through an impeachment. But as you mentioned there, it's probably dead on arrival in the Senate. But we are seeing, in addition to these articles of impeachment getting filed, we have begun to see Republicans take other steps too. So first of all, we have seen a new bill introduced by Representative Darrell Issa that would restrict the ability for these singular district judges to be able to issue these nationwide injunctions, blocking whether it be an executive order or some other.
I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. Maybe if we followed the law, perhaps we wouldn't have to worry so much about what the judges are saying. I remember back when it would be okay for a Democrat to speak out against a Democratic president, or vice versa, a Republican to speak out against a Republican president. Now they're worried about being primaried. Let's call it what it is. They're worried about somebody else buying their job, because that's what Musk is doing when you're paying $1 million in a raffle for people who voted. Who do you think they will have voted for? Wouldn't that be awesome? I won $1 million in Elon Musk's election raffle. Go Kamala.
Other administration policy. These types of nationwide injunctions are nothing new to the Trump administration. They've really risen up in the last decade or so, but the Trump administration has really been complaining just about the sheer number of nationwide injunctions that judges have been issuing across the country. So this is now just the latest step from Republicans trying to crack down on that practice and trying to restrain the lower court's authority here.
Okay, again, these lower courts are federal courts. It's across the land, not just this little corner of it. It's across the land. Oh, these Republicans, they're trying. You got to love them. They're trying. Yeah, this isn't okay. This is another good one, though. Roberts, that's what I was trying to think of. John Roberts. Why couldn't I remember that? I'm getting old. Chief Justice John Roberts rejects Trump's call for impeaching a judge who wrote against his deportation plans. Yeah.
In an extraordinary situation in Washington, the President of the United States and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court appear to be in open conflict right now. This began when President Trump called for impeaching a judge who had ruled against him in a deportation case. This judge said the president could not move forward with his plan to deport people to El Salvador. Next, after this, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, issued his own statement saying it is not appropriate to call for impeaching judges who do not rule the way you want them to. That the appropriate venue for that is to appeal the case and to work through the appellate process. This is an extremely rare situation. Almost never does the Chief Justice issue a statement like this, let alone after or in response to a statement from the president himself. So what you're seeing here is inching closer to open conflict between the executive branch and the judicial branch, and laying the groundwork
for the executive branch.
The possibility of a constitutional crisis.
I love how
situation in Washington.
Everybody's so afraid to admit that we're in a constitutional crisis. We are in a world war. We are in a civil war. We've been. What more do you need? Our Capitol was attacked weeks before a new president being inaugurated, orchestrated by the outgoing president that we were stupid enough to reelect. How fast do you people forget? Yes, I'm talking to you, MAGA man. Why do you think that's okay for 5 people to have lost their lives while defending our nation, in our nation, against ourselves? No, they were not patriots. No, they are not patriots. No, they were never political prisoners. They were criminal prisoners. Still should be. I know that the power of pardon is absolute with the president. And for that reason, I don't want to call them or say that they should still be in jail. But they should still be in jail because this guy shouldn't have been elected in the first place. And with what I've learned recently, and this will be a future episode, and it's tentative. As of now, it's hypothetical. For those of you listening on YouTube that are worried about me misleading anybody, there's evidence suggesting that this election, 2024, was actually stolen by the Mango Mussolini. That's going to be a future episode. And obviously, we got plenty of time because even if it were to be proven, nothing's going to happen. We're not going to run out to California and Brentwood and knock on Kamala's door and say, hey, could we borrow you for 3 years? Not going to happen. So let's just forget about that. But if we can get to a midterm, if we can get control of the Congress, and God willing, 2/3 of it, or at least put, even if they're Republicans, put 2/3 of the people in there with a clue and a set of balls or tits to do the right thing, as opposed to last time, when there were actually senators speaking out privately to folks like Mitt Romney, who voted to convict T-Rump. I wanted to do that too, but I didn't want to put my family's safety in jeopardy. Then why are you on Capitol Hill? And I'm not saying that your family's safety being in jeopardy is an awesome thing. It's an awesome responsibility, and you took it. Now you pushed out. This judge is not pussing out. He's standing his ground. I wish there was some law enforcement perspective or agency that did enforce various things by the courts. So many other local and state judges do have sheriff's departments, police departments, whoever, who would be charged with the responsibility of enforcing a court order. I would love to see some of these smartasses get locked up. Oh, we can't call that plane back. It already took off. Son of a bitch, you can talk to a spacecraft halfway around the world. You can talk to a plane that's no more than a couple thousand miles away. Yeah. All right, gang, I've got to take one more break. When we come back, what is it next? We'll check on Cory again. We'll check on the 22nd Amendment and the possibility of Trump getting a third term. I still haven't, I found it on my phone, but I haven't found it on here. I'll try to find it during the break of what these theories are, what these hypotheticals that have been thought up by these so-called legal scholars who think that there's a loophole for Trump to get a third term. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness.
There's Biz Growth Collective. We talked about that in some previous breaks. There's a QR code on the screen right now. BizGrowthCollective.com. Check them out for more. I really think you'll like it. If you're in or doing any kind of business, I'm hiding behind the graphic. Sit up here. If you're in or doing any kind of business in the state of Florida, where it's in beta, scan that QR code on your screen right now, or go to bizgrowthcollective.com. Check out, see what they have to offer. They can certainly help further your business. 2x, 10x, whatever you want to do. They're not like business consultants. They provide you tools that you would already know how to use. You just don't have it yet. Something in my coffee. bizgrowthcollective.com. Also, get a very personalized message from me. That's right. I'm on Cameo. Go to cameo.com/Yergs/book. But it's like $5. I can answer a question about the Secret Service within reason. Let me decide if the question is classified and if I can't answer it. You just ask. Or maybe I can read you like I would do some of the knucklehead phone calls that we actually do sometimes get. Or maybe I can just wish you happy birthday, good luck on a test, cheer you up, whatever you need. Go to cameo.com/Yergs/book for more information, or scan the QR code. It's about to leave the screen. There it goes. So Ken's saying, if there is a loophole for the third term, yeah, I've seen this too. Let's bring back Obama to piss off those that are trying for a third term. I'm sure they wouldn't want to go through that. Well, I mean, the Constitution's really plain. I do want to see what this loophole is. I don't get it. Let's see what they say. Who will be your friend? NBC in Chicago has a story. NBC in Chicago again. That Trump is not joking about a third term. Then I heard, I don't know this for sure, but he turned around and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So there's that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, And remember that we are building a community here. So just liking and that's it. I love for you all to take an active role in all of our discussions. All right, so here's a couple different stories about the third term deal, and he's not joking and blah, 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 blah. Donny boy. I don't know that I want to. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know that we got time to do all three of these or four of these, but let's take a look here.
This isn't the first time we've heard Donald Trump talk about staying in power after his time is up, even when there are limits and levers to prevent that. Over the weekend, first in a phone call with NBC, then again on Air Force One, Trump talked about a possible third term, or in his own words, a fourth term, suggesting his 2020 loss wasn't actually real. But this all comes amid an approval rating for the president of 50%.
I think I'm popular because we've done a great job. We have a long way to go before we even think about that.
Trump sees the timing.
Okay. You are popular among educated people among uneducated people that you made to feel relevant because of the attention you've given them during the course of the campaign. You're not popular with the majority of the country. You are certainly not popular on the international stage.
As the issue, not the Constitution, which actually bars this, with one amendment saying no one can be elected more than twice, and then another stating if you aren't eligible to be president, you also can't be vice president. That comes on chatter that Trump could be a running mate and then take office again if someone were to resign.
It is destabilizing. It shows that he does not respect the Constitution.
Now, Trump could force a constitutional amendment to remain president, but that would need to be ratified by Congress and 3/4 of all state legislatures. Some Republicans have sought a rule change as well to say non-consecutive terms should be eligible for a third, but legal experts argue this all veers into autocracy, citing Russia upheaving its constitution to give Vladimir Putin nearly endless power.
I think it's also going to be destabilizing for the Republican Party because candidates who are interested in running are going to feel that they are intimidated by Donald Trump and really only end up benefiting the Democrats.
Trump has long tested the limits on rules and laws, using a pattern where he says something that gets repeated by loyalists. It then helps to expand the boundaries of what might be possible for the party's president. Reggie Cicchini, Global News, Washington.
All right, so there's
President Trump's second term has barely started, and he's already floating the possibility of a third one, even though the U.S. Constitution forbids it. Trump telling NBC News this weekend, quote, there are methods by which he could do it, and that he's, quote, not joking. Here's how South Carolina Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn is responding to it.
Well, I don't think he's joking at all. This man does not plan to leave this White House. All of this is about suspending, if not eliminating, the Constitution of the United States.
I've been saying
and that's
it.
the track we're on. And I think people better get serious about this. When he says he's not joking about throwing away the Constitution, which is what he'll have to do in order to have a third term, and we are not going to rise up in opposition to that, I think it's time for us all to wake up.
We're joined now by CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig. And Ellie, the 22nd Amendment is very clear. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Where is this wiggle room that Trump is seeing?
Well, Bree, you're exactly right. Lawyers love wiggle room and escape hatches. And here they're looking at the word elected. So here's the argument. It's fringy, but the 22nd Amendment says nobody should be elected president more than twice. Well, the theory is, well, then maybe what Donald Trump or any two-term president can do is run as vice president with, let's say, J.D. Vance at the top of the ticket. If they win, J.D. Vance resigns, Donald Trump becomes president. The argument is that, well, that wouldn't be getting elected. That would be becoming president through the line of succession, ascending to the presidency. So now the biggest problem with this, of course, though, is earlier in the Constitution. The 12th Amendment tells us that any person who's ineligible to be president is also ineligible to be vice president. So you would think that ends the question. That seems pretty straightforward. There is a very fringy, extreme school of thought that the 12th Amendment doesn't quite close the door on this, but I think those advocates are trying to thread a needle that is not threadable.
A little too cute by half there. So Trump said, in addition to the J.D. Vance option, there are others too. That's a quote. What are they?
Well, the most straightforward option, it's completely unrealistic, but we can always amend the Constitution. I mean, we have done that 27 times in our history. It's virtually impossible in today's political landscape. In order to amend the Constitution, there's two ways to do it. One, we can convene a series of statewide constitutional conventions. That's never happened. That's not going to happen. Two, maybe equally as unlikely, you would have to get a 2/3 vote in the House of Representatives, a 2/3 vote in the U.S. Senate, and then 3/4 of the states, 38 of the 50 states would have to ratify that. So in theory,
So mathematically, that's correct. He's saying 2/3 in one, 2/3 in the other. That's actually not correct. You need 2/3 of the Congress. Okay? So if a supermajority of the of the House is for, then you don't even need the Senate, because they don't have enough to overturn that 2/3. So it's not 2/3 of each. It's just 2/3 of the entire body. So even though the votes are counted 535, what is that? There's 435 in the House, and there isn't actually that many right now because there's 2 that are being elected today here in Florida. But 535 would be the total number of seats times 0.66. If 354, it's 353.1. So if 354 members of the House vote for whatever, we're done. That's 2/3 of the Congress. Okay, let's go back to Eli. Oh, I'm not going to do this for 10 minutes.
You could do that, but there's a 0.00% chance of that happening in reality.
And I mean, just talk about why this is an important tradition that has been codified in the Constitution. This is something that makes America quite extraordinary.
Well, and that's exactly why I think these end runs, playing with the word elected or trying to argue the 12th Amendment doesn't apply somehow, that's why I think they're disingenuous and dangerous. Part of what we have to do when we look at the Constitution is look at the spirit, look at the intent. I mean, George Washington stepped down after 2 terms because he understood we don't want a king. The reason we ratified the 22nd Amendment in 1951 after FDR had served 4 consecutive terms is we didn't want that. So you're right. I think norms are really important here, and that's part of what's different. Look, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama both served 2 terms. Neither of them, and so did George W. Bush, none of them ever in any serious way spoke about, considered, gave any life to the possibility of a 3rd term, and Donald Trump's doing it differently.
So you have a Republican Congressman, Andy Ogles, who has proposed changes to the 22nd Amendment. He did that just days after Trump took office back in January to allow Trump to serve a 3rd term, drawing a distinction between consecutive terms and non-consecutive terms. What do you think about that?
That's what we would call a distinction without a difference. I mean, who cares? The point is, we don't want kings in this country. It doesn't matter if they take a few years off in between. But look, God bless. I mean, if he wants to propose a constitutional amendment, if he can get 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate, and 3/4 of the states, then that'll become the way we do business. But I think he's looking for some way to argue that this situation is somehow different than the rest of our history. And it doesn't fly to me.
All right. Ellie Honig, thank you so much for taking us through the legal ins and outs of that.
All right.
President Trump not back.
Yeah, okay. We get it. I think the link will be in the show notes, as you know. If you want to see the rest of the video, feel free to. I sent a link, speaking of links, I sent a link to Sportcat to see if he wanted to join us now. We got 7 minutes left. And he's supposedly doing a little better at being ready as opposed to like I often do, and time to go. Turn everything on. But he has not seen my message on Facebook yet, so I doubt that we'll have him today. What I want to do when we keep going back and forth with, passing things off, I use Restream. He uses something called Streamlabs. So it's different. And still, he's broadcasting from one and I'm in another location. But if he were to join us right now as a guest on mine, he could still have everything else set up at his workstation right now in Knoxville. And he would just, when he's finished with me, he just closes that tab that he connected to me, and boom, done. He can actually connect his channels, like his YouTube and what have you, to me while I'm broadcasting here and while he's joining. And then it'll stay even after he leaves until I disconnect, which means it'll pick up right away when he connects. So I think it'll be a good thing for us to go back and forth like that. See if he wants to. I mean, he's the one that's in the middle. He doesn't want to do it, then I can, if he doesn't want to send me a link to his Streamlabs broadcast, I can't get it. I can tune in on YouTube or I watch any other time. But other than that, I can't get it. So that's it for today. I'm going to go through some of the plugs that we never got to earlier. Take a little bit better time doing it and see if he joins us. In the meantime, so in a couple of minutes, Sport Cat's up. You can get that right here on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, or Radio X. You can find them by going to radiox.com.au or yergsradio.com or rainbowradio.gay. Or go to YouTube for the video and find at Para or Normal Guys with a Z. And that's coming up in under 4 minutes. Oh, there he is. Let's bring him out.
You got
you.
Well, hopefully it was good.
Yes. Hopefully. Yes. I was just telling it that they can get it on Radio X, Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and also, if you want the video, Para or Normal Guys. What's coming up?
Well, we're going to talk about, hold on, I'll pull my tabs up because we're going to talk about the soldiers in Lithuania. They have found the fourth soldier. We're going to talk about that. And then
now,
we're going to talk about how.
Was this also in like some armored vehicle that's sunk in a swamp?
Yes, it's actually a vehicle that they use to rescue tanks. So think of a rescue tow truck type armored vehicle. That's what it was. It was extremely heavy.
Which is what I was going to say. Did anybody get the idea that maybe driving it through a swamp?
Well, I think the problem was, and from what I've read, is the soldiers weren't very well versed on the area, and they're from Fort Stewart, Georgia. Okay. And so they kind of they're testing it. It's not been an approved vehicle as of yet. So they might have tried to take it through some swamps. I don't know.
Isn't that usual, the bullshit story that they're testing? Yeah.
So, they were testing it way back in Texas in like 23. So it seems to me it should have been approved by now, but
yeah. What else?
Government moves at this. So we'll talk a little bit about Putin. We're going to talk about Iran's threatening to bomb our warships and our aircraft on, what is that? Garcia something island.
Yeah, I didn't even get to that today. Either one of those two. That's good that you're covering them.
Yeah, and then SpaceX, or I don't know if it's SpaceX, but we've got a spaceship up right now that is going to be monitoring both It's in a polar ice cap, so it'll be monitoring both north and south poles, getting us images and data we've not had from space. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a girl attacked by, well, she thought it was a shark, but it turned out it wasn't. So I got that, and then we get into my normal daily. Because there's going to be some bad weather. You might want to pay attention about Wednesday. It's going to be pretty severe down by you. So.
I heard that. All right.
So get your weather radio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming up in a couple of minutes. I'll go through a couple more plugs. Let Sportcat get away from us and get set up for his show. What do you plan on doing? Do you want to listen in like a background so you know when I cut, or we didn't get a chance to really talk about this yet?
Yeah, just put me in the background so that way I can turn my camera off for this browser.
And the other one. Right on.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell her, and then I'll just hit mix as soon as you go, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Have a good day. I hope your fans come over and listen.
I'll see you in 2 hours.
That's right. You will. I'm going to try and send you the link, and we'll see how it goes. So,
and we'll try it in reverse order for when we do Mastiff. What am I calling it now this week? Mastiff Media Magazine. There it is. All right.
That's a lot to say.
Yeah. That's it. Sportcat's up next with his Daily Gazette, and I will see you all again back in 2 hours. See you then. All right, man.
All right. See you, brother.
All right, so that's really going to do it for us. We got like 8 seconds, and I want to give him, all the time he needs. So I will see you again in 2 hours with the Mastiff Media Magazine, and that will also be on Radio X, Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and my entire Mastiff Media network. Till then, thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs. We'll see you again. Here goes my mix account, Sportcat. And there's that. And here's us. All right. See you in 2 hours.